Hi, I'm Eric Siegel with Kitbashed Survival, and today I've got a couple really cool items for us to check out. I've got a buddy who's in the Air Force, and part of his job is actually testing and approving various survival kit items for the Air Force. And so, knowing that I had this channel, he went ahead and sent me a couple goodies to check out. So what I've got here is a couple modules that come out of a larger survival kit that goes into various airplanes for the Air Force. Now, unfortunately, he could not send me the entire kit because, as you can imagine, portions of that kit are not allowed to be in the hands of civilians, and he could get in really big trouble if he sent me the entire contents of the kit. But he was able to send me these two modules. So what I've got here is the medical module and the survival module. And these are current. This one was made in May of 2017. And it just expired on April 30th of 2020. And this one was made in May 2016, and it won't expire until this November of 2020. So these are definitely very current and in active use, at least as far as I know. Now, of course, I'm not in the Air Force, and I don't claim to be an expert on military survival, escape, evasion, and resistance gear, so I don't know every single detail about these kits. I'm sure somebody does, and they'll probably comment below and tell me that I'm an idiot and tell me everything I've got wrong about these kits. But all I was told was that these are part of a much larger kit that goes into airplanes for the Air Force. So here's a close-up of the medical module. There's a metal grommet up here, and then you can see here it was manufactured on the 1st of May 2017, and it expired on April 30th 2020. And you can see there's nothing on the back, there's no contents list or anything like that. It tells you to open it right here, so we'll go ahead and do just that. Alright, so we've got an interior bag that's got the same kind of label right here. And looks like this one's a Ziploc bag, so let's go ahead and open it up. Yep. And we'll get all the contents out and then have a look. Quite a bit of stuff. So here we go. Now, it's interesting, you know, I've seen other people open these kits up on YouTube, and although the contents are pretty much exactly the same, there are some subtle differences that I'll point out as we go through this stuff. When I opened up the bag, there was kind of a weird smell at first. Not a bad smell, but just sort of a kind of a chemical-y smell, sort of like a new plastic and a little bit of rubbing alcohol, kind of like a doctor's office kind of smell. So not bad, just a little weird, but that smell has dissipated. So we've got the bag that the stuff came in. Then we've got one of these things, and these are pretty cool. I've seen these, but I've never actually had one of my own. So there we go. Basically, this is just a fancy glow stick, you know, the kind that you crack and they glow for a few hours. This is the Siloom SOS Signal Safety or Survival Light, waterproof and non-toxic, made in USA. And they've got the instructions there. So basically what you do is you open this end and pull the tube out. It's got a bunch of stuff floating around in there, so I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but you know what? It already expired in May of 2020, so let's go ahead and try it out and see if it works. Up next, we've got this Quick Clot Combat Gauze, and this is hemostatic gauze, vacuum packed and Z-folded. So this is that gauze that's treated with a clotting agent, and so when you put it on a wound, it encourages clotting. So it's really nice to have, and actually, this stuff is really expensive, and so this is really cool that I got some of this for free, because if you were to try to buy this online, it's about 20-30 bucks for something this size. Then we've got one of these elastic self-adhesive bandages. I'm not going to take it out of the packaging, but there it is. It's a nice camouflage color. And then we've got 4 moist towelettes, latex free. Now, in reviews for this kit that I've seen on YouTube, I've seen a different brand used, so this is a variation. And this is also a variation, the Cerealite 70 Electrolyte Drink Mix. This is sort of a long and narrow package, but I've also seen it in sort of a square package. Then we've got Bug X 30 DEET Insect Repellent Towelettes. And I'm guessing the 30 is because it's 30% DEET. Yeah, 30% DEET. And then we've got 4 large safety pins. Then we've got a selection of Band-Aids. We've got 4 of the larger Band-Aid type bandages. And then we've also got 4 small Band-Aids. We've got 2 packs of Bacitracin ointment. Pretty cool. And then we've got some sunscreen stuff. We've got Sun-X 30 Plus sunscreen lotion. So the lotion's here. And then right here is a Sun-X Utility Towelette. Dry and super absorbent. The Sun-X Utility Towelette is a multi-purpose convenient dry towelette in a single dose foil pack. It is gentle on the skin, face, and hands. It is not pre-moistened and is intended to absorb sweat, dirt, sunscreen, and or other substances. Pretty cool. And then finally, we've got the H&H compressed gauze. And this one expires in November of 2023, so it's still good, although I'm sure it'll be good for a while after that as well. Alright, so that does it for the medical module. Now let's check out the survival module. So here's that survival module again. It was made on May 1st, 2016, and it expires this November 30th of 2020. Dangerous goods, life-saving appliances, not self-inflating. So let's go ahead and open it up. And again, we've got an inner bag. With the same stuff on there. And let's see what we got. Alright, so here we have the contents of the survival module, and just like with the medical module, I've seen reviews for this on YouTube, and I do see a few variations here which I'll point out along the way. So we've got the Ziploc storage bag that everything came in. Then we've got the Chemivat Cravat, camouflage triangular bandage. It's made in the USA. It measures 37 by 37 by 52 inches, contains 1 cravat and 2 safety pins. It's a water repellent fabric, and it's got an antimicrobial treatment. And there's the uses for it. Pretty cool. Then we've got a handcuff key, which would come in handy if you were captured behind enemy lines. And this looks like the handcuff key that's made by Rothco. I'm willing to bet that's who supplies that. We've got a couple of flashlights here. This one, I thought at first it had a white LED, but it actually turns out that it's an infrared LED, so you can only see it with night vision. And then next to that, we've got a flashlight with a red LED. So these flashlights are definitely of the escape and evade variety, and they would certainly help you maintain a low profile. And these are the kind that have a little strap on them so that you can strap them to your finger or anything else. And they've also got a couple pieces of Velcro tape so that you can mount these to whatever you want to mount them to. And you know, the way these work is you pull off this little strap here, and it's got a loop. And you put it around your thumb, for example. And then you got a light on your thumb. Pretty cool. Under normal lighting, if you turn on the infrared flashlight, you're not going to see anything. So I've switched to my night vision camera here, and if I turn this on, there it is. And that's the infrared light. And I'll go ahead and show you the other light as well. This one is red. And there it is. Anyway, moving on. Right here we've got a spark tool that's in this little plastic test tube with some tinder material at the bottom. And this is a variation in this kit. In other videos that I've seen, the spark tool was contained in the waterproof match container. But here, it's a standalone item, and you've also got some tinder down there, so let's go ahead and take it out. Okay, so this is not really tinder like I thought. It's just styrofoam. I guess you could light it up if you needed to, but maybe it's just in there to protect the spark tool. And there it is. And this kind of looks like the ones that come in SOL survival kits. It's just green. And it works just fine. And now let's take a look at that waterproof match container. So it's green, it's got a rubber seal to make it waterproof. There's a ferro rod down on the bottom. If we open it up, there's a mirror in the end cap. Then we've got a compass. It's a little hard to get it out of there. There it goes. So it's just your standard button compass and looks like it is accurate. And then we've got some matches that are in a Ziploc bag, so let me go ahead and pull those out. Alright, so looks like we've got a whole bunch of storm matches and then a couple striker services. So that's good. Looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 storm matches. Not bad. Then right here we've got a couple of those wet fire starters. These are a great thing to have in any survival kit. Then we've got a whistle. This one is made by UST. It's the Jet Scream. And this is another variation. The whistles that I've seen in other kits that have been reviewed have been different. It's got a little lanyard on it. And there is the UST Jet Scream whistle. Let's try it out. Yep, that's a good screamer. It's a good whistle. Then we've got a signal mirror. There it is. Star Flash Ultra Signal Mirror. It's got instructions on it. This one's made by UST, just like the whistle. And it's got a protective film on the mirror, which I won't remove right now. Pretty cool. Then we've got a nice surprise. We've got a Leatherman Squirt PS4. How about that? The US government spared no expense. Got a real Leatherman. So yeah, this is pretty nice. I'm impressed. And then lastly, we've got some water purification tablets, MicroPure by Katadyn. And this is yet another variation. In other reviews I've seen of this kit, the purification tablets came in a glass bottle, whereas these are in these little packets. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 purification tablets. And I'm guessing each tablet will purify 1 liter of water. Let's go ahead and find out. Okay, to use, remove the tablet from its foil packaging and quickly insert into 1 quart or 1 liter of contaminated water. Allow to react for 4 hours, wow, that's a long time, in an opaque container or in the dark to generate a use solution of 4 ppm parts per million chlorine dioxide. The treated water is now safe for drinking. So yeah, 4 hours to make your water drinkable. But there's 10 of them, so you can drink 10 liters of water. So what do I think of these two modules? Well, I think they're pretty cool, but other than that, I don't think that I'm in a position to critique them for a few reasons. Number one, I'm not in the military. And number two, I don't think we've got the full picture here. I think there's some elements and equipment that are missing. So, you know, it'd be easy to say, oh, there's no container for water storage, or there's no shelter element. But that wouldn't be a fair criticism because we don't have access to the full complement of equipment that the crews and pilots do. And then lastly, you always have to consider context. The contents of a kit are going to vary drastically depending on the context in which they're used. So a military survival kit is going to vary quite a lot from a civilian survival kit because their needs are different. And so for all those reasons, I'm just going to say it is what it is, and I thought it was pretty cool. Now, of course, lots of people have reviewed these modules on YouTube, so what makes my review any different from theirs? Well, this being Kitbashed Survival, I'm not only reviewing these modules, I'm going to repurpose them. Since they've already been opened, I'm going to take the contents and repack them into a new survival kit, and it'll be a kit that's catered towards my needs. Remember, context. Alright, so here's all the gear from both modules. I've already made a couple changes and there's lots more to come. I started by adding a couple little Ziploc bags to help compartmentalize some of the smaller items. I'm sure I'll bag up some of the other gear as well. But this little bag has the sunscreen stuff, the bug repellent wipes, and the moist towelettes. And then this is sort of a medical bag that contains the Band-Aids and the bacitracin ointment from the original medical module. And then I've added a scalpel blade, a small gauze pad, 2 alcohol prep pads, and then I've added 2 Imodiums, 2 Benadryls, 4 ibuprofens, and 2 pills of a medication called diclofenac, which is sort of a more powerful anti-inflammatory, a little more powerful than just standard ibuprofen. And one of the nice things about putting things in little bags like this, especially when it comes to creams and ointments, is that if the packet should rupture and the cream or ointment should leak out, it'll be contained to this little Ziploc bag and won't ruin the rest of the kit. I'm going to go ahead and remove a few items that either don't work or aren't necessary. So we'll get rid of the glow stick that doesn't work. Now I myself, I'm probably not going to have need for an infrared light in a survival situation. So I'm going to take this out for now and replace it with just a standard white LED flashlight. One of these little things that's got the white LED, and you can press it like that, or you can flip the switch and have it stay on for good. So we'll put that there. I'm also going to get rid of the handcuff key because I don't see me having a need for that anytime in the near future. And we'll replace that bad glow stick with one that works. Here's a green one. I'd like to add an emergency poncho and also an emergency space blanket. I thought about replacing these water purification tablets with something that acts faster than 4 hours, but for the time being I'm going to leave these where they are. What I will do is beef up the water situation in this kit by adding this. This is a water filtration straw. It's called a Frontier Emergency Filter. It's made by Aquamira, and you can buy these on Amazon for about $11 or $12. It's kind of like a Sawyer or a Life Straw. It just has a little bit smaller of a footprint. It's not as expensive, and it's not as robust. This will only filter up to about 30 gallons of water, but for a survival kit, that's plenty. I'm going to add some paracord to this kit. This is about 15 feet of 550 paracord. I've got a couple of feet of duct tape here. I've got a big lighter, might as well add that. I've got a 1 liter Whirlpack stand-up water bag to store water. I've got a couple 12 by 12 sheets of tinfoil. I've got a single Jolly Rancher, and it's in a Ziploc bag so that if it melts or something, it won't ruin the rest of the kit. Got a pencil, and to go with that pencil, I've got some waterproof paper. I've got a little trick birthday candle. Probably not necessary with all the other fire stuff we have, but might as well. I've got a little piece of fat wood to help build a fire. I'm not big on putting fishing kits and other food items in my kits, but I will put this little, very minimalist fishing kit in here. This has about 15 feet of 8-pound test line, a couple hooks, and a couple sinkers. You know, food is probably the least important item in a survival kit, so I don't like to waste a lot of space with food-related items, but I figure with a very minimalist fishing kit and the little Jolly Rancher, that's about as much as I'll do. I'm also going to put a larger knife in this kit, and this is what I've chosen. This is a BPS-1 FTS. It's a full tang knife from BPS Knives. These are made in the Ukraine, and it's a nice little knife. It's nothing fancy, but it'll get the job done. I was going to try to do a Mora companion, but the container that I'm going to use for this kit when we repack it, it's a little too small for the Mora. The Mora is a little bit too long, and so I had to choose something with a smaller footprint, so that's why I chose the BPS-1 FTS. So there that is. And we'll also add a couple small zip ties. I'm going to add another water item. I've got a couple of Melita coffee filters here to help filter sediment from the water when it goes into the bag. And then lastly, I'm going to add one of these cheap wire saws. These aren't great. You're not going to be able to saw a whole bunch with one of these, but I think I'll have room for it, so might as well put it in there because, you know, I'd rather have it than not have it. Alright, so the big question is, what am I going to repack all this gear into? Well, I've chosen to use a bag this time, just to do something different. So this is the bag I'm going to use. It's sort of a military-esque bag, if you will. It's got some MOLLE webbing and so forth. And the interior is just very basic. It's one compartment. Now, this is not a waterproof bag by any means. So what I'll do is I'll segment this gear into a series of Ziploc bags. And so that will give it some protection from the water. But this is not going to be a waterproof kit, but it should be just fine for getting splashed or rained on or something like that. Anyway, let's go ahead and see if we can fit all this gear into this bag. So here's the Ziploc bags I'll be using. Now you may wonder why I'm not using the Ziploc bags that originally came with each module. Well, it's because they have holes right here. So that wouldn't do much for keeping water out. All right. Alright, we got it all in there, and in fact there's a little room to spare, which is always a good thing because it means if I take this out on a trip or something like that, I can put some special gear in here that I think I might need on that particular trip. And you know, I could put some other gear in there. I could put a snare wire in there, although like I said, I don't consider food a top priority in a survival kit. I could put a little sewing kit in there, but again, I don't consider these that important. I could put something like this in there, a SWAT T tourniquet. You know, that might be a good thing to have. And, oh heck, let's go for it. I could put a bivy sack in there, an emergency bivy sack. Let's see if that'll fit. It's a little tight, but I think it's gonna fit. Yeah, there we go. And by the way, the final weight on the repacked kit here is right at 2 pounds 11 ounces. So it's not a lightweight kit to be sure, but that wasn't the goal here. I've got plenty of lightweight kits in my collection. With this, I was trying to build a more complete, well-rounded kit. So there you have it, the medical and survival modules from the Air Force Pilot Survival Kit, reviewed and then repacked into this nice bag. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments. For now, that's it. I'm Eric Siegel. This is Kitbashed Survival, and I'll see you next time.